job in this administration, now is not the time to be comfortable. Now is not the time to fund your retirement account or your children's future college education. You need to put that money into organizations that are on the ground providing assistance, to journalists who are on the ground reporting the truth, to advocacy organizations. Now is not the time to be comfortable or complicit or complacent. My mantra through all of this has been, evil wins when good people do nothing. I am calling on every single person to do something every single day to stop this. The tide is turning, I believe that, but it's not turning fast enough for the people who are dead and dying in Gaza. Thank you.
My name is Hanny Nofal. I was a submarine officer for over 10 years, and I resigned in November 2023 during the Biden administration when I recognized very early on that this was in fact a genocide, and the United States government was fully and unequivocally backing that genocide. I'm only coming out now because I had to wait until the expiration of my active duty service to be able to speak out, but I'm coming out now to say that I do not support what the U.S. government has been promoting in Gaza for the last 22 months. 250 years ago, at the dawn of this nation, George Washington gave us a warning. In his farewell address, he cautioned us against the insidious wiles of foreign influence and pleaded with future generations to preserve the independence of our political institutions from entangling alliances and passionate attachments abroad. He did not do this out of isolationism or fear, but out of the deep understanding that the strength of the Republic lies not in its might, but in its moral clarity. Not in who it can dominate, but in who it can resist. I speak to you today as someone who wore the uniform of this country for over a decade, who stood the watch aboard a nuclear submarine as an officer, entrusted with one of the most powerful arsenals on Earth. I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I took the oath seriously, but I have come to understand that threats to our republic do not always arrive in the form of armies or missiles. Sometimes they arrive as ideologies, quiet, corrosive, and clothed in the language of friendship. And today, the greatest test of our national integrity is not in the South China Sea or the Persian Gulf. It is Gaza. What is unfolding in Gaza is not a conflict. It is not a war between equals. It is a calculated starvation, bombing, and displacement of a captive civilian population executed by the Israeli government and made possible by the full backing of the United States. Let us be honest, without the billions in military aid to the uninterrupted flow of weapons, the diplomatic shielding at the United Nations, and the bipartisan silence in Congress, this would not be possible. Every party, Republican and Democrat alike, has put loyalty to a foreign government above the lives of Palestinian children, above the conscience of the American people, and above the very values we claim to stand for. I know what these values are supposed to mean. I believed in them enough to lead sailors into harm's way. But how can we speak of liberty when we fund occupation? How can we claim to uphold human rights while enabling war crimes? How can we call ourselves a democracy while criminalizing dissent and silencing anyone who questions our blind allegiance to Israel? This is not just foreign policy. This is the capture of our republic. Washington foresaw this. He warned that passionate attachment to another nation would lead to the illusion of common interest, the betrayal of our own. And that is exactly where we are. We have been seduced by a false narrative, one that equates strategic alliance with moral obligation and dissent with disloyalty. But let me be clear. To speak the truth about Gaza is not anti-American. It is profoundly American, because patriotism, real patriotism, is not obedience to power, it is fidelity to principle. And principle demands we say this: no nation, however sacred its origin story, has the right to ethnically cleanse, starve, or massacre civilians. Not even Israel. Especially not with our weapons, especially not with our tax dollars, especially not in our name. I resigned my commission because I could no longer serve a system that rewards cowardice and punishes conscience. I could no longer remain silent while my government abets apartheid and genocide under the guise of security. And I say to you now, our silence is complicity. And complicity is not neutrality. It is betrayal. Betrayal of our Constitution, betrayal of our humanity, betrayal of the republic Washington fought to build. But it is not too late. The people of this country have always been capable of great moral courage. It was ordinary Americans who ended the Vietnam War, who brought down Jim Crow, who forced the end of South African apartheid. And it'll be us, veterans, teachers, doctors, students, clergy, who end this era of bipartisan complicity and demand a foreign policy rooted not in blind loyalty, but in justice. Because the world is watching, Gaza is watching, humanity is watching. And one day our children will ask what we did when our government became the chief enabler of one of the great moral atrocities of our time. Let us have an answer worthy of them. As Washington said, the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty is finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. It is time we take that trust back. Thank you.
My name is Caleb Dix. I'm a proud American and a 5-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I stand before you today, not as a politician, not as a diplomat, but as a man who has seen firsthand the power and devastation of modern weaponry. I know what these tools of war can do. I know how precise they can be and how deadly they become when they're used with no restraint and no conscience. And what we are witnessing in Gaza is not war, it's a systematic annihilation. Let me be absolutely clear. The state of Israel is conducting not a just war. It is waging a campaign of brutality and cowardly, vengeful war against civilians. We've seen the targeting of journalists, doctors, paramedics, aid workers. Tens of thousands of children have been killed, entire families erased, hospitals flattened, and now even starvation used as a weapon. This is not self-defense. This is genocide. And while Israel may be pulling the trigger, America is loading the gun. With every bomb we fund, every weapon we ship, every veto we cast at the UN, we stain our hands with the blood of the innocent. But I'm not just speaking as a Marine or an American. I'm speaking as someone who has walked the streets of Palestine. I've looked into the eyes of the Palestinian people. I've sat with their families, shared meals, laughed with their children, heard their stories. And I can tell you with certainty, these are some of the kindest, most resilient, most dignified people I have ever met. They do not need our pity, they need our solidarity. I do not stand here as a savior, I stand here as a brother, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Palestinian people in their fight for freedom, dignity, and liberation. To the American people, you have more power than you think. It is your tax dollars, your silence, your votes that make this violence possible. But it can also be your courage, your voices, your resilience that brings it to an end. Do not let the language of defense fool you. Do not let the words of propaganda blind you. Human life is human life. And the Palestinian lives are not dispensable. If you believe in liberty, if you believe in justice, if you believe in the values this nation claims to uphold, then now is the time to speak, to stand, and to act. Gaza is burning, the West Bank is bleeding, and history is watching. May we choose to be remembered not for our silence, but for our moral clarity, and our refusal to be complicit in the face of evil. Thank you. Free Palestine, and God bless you all.
Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. The peace that the children in Gaza do not have. My name is Dr. Nidal Jabour. I'm a Palestinian American internal medicine doctor from Michigan. I'm a proud constituent of Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. as your constituents, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, we want to congratulate you on your integrity, on your bravery, and on your moral clarity. As your constituents, we are proud of you. And despite all the pain, your district is saying happy birthday, Rashida Tlaib. Thank you, Mus'ab Abu Toha, the amazing poet and writer, the son of Gaza. You are a proof that Gaza will live and shall outlive all the haters, domestic and foreign. I'm here with my colleagues as doctors, healthcare workers, and as witnesses to the worst atrocities in mankind's history. We are here to tell you without apology that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide, and that the United States government is helping to fund it with American tax dollars. What we are witnessing in Gaza is not a humanitarian aid. It's not relief. It is a United States funded slaughterhouse. Children are being starved and shot at for trying to get bread. Churches and mosques are bombed. Families are burned alive. No one is spared. Not newborns, not the elderly, not the patients, not the doctors, nor the priests. This is not war. This is an extermination campaign funded, aided, abetted by the United States of America. The so-called Gaza humanitarian aid is not a lifeline. It is a death trap. Children take off their sandals so they can run faster, to dodge the bullets while they are searching for bread. This is not a humanitarian operation. This is a death distribution network funded by the United States and run by the Israeli military and American mercenaries. From the concentration camps of the Holocaust to the killing fields in Cambodia to the concentration zones Israel is building across Gaza, and now to the American-backed death distribution centers, the crime is the same. The genocide is the same. It should have ended 2 years ago, when the signs were clear, when the warnings were loud. And we know this. President Reagan stopped Israel in 1982 with one single phone call. And we know that President Trump can stop it with one single phone call now, unless if he is as weak as Biden was. If you don't stop it today, then you are as sleepy as Joe was. It's your call. And yet our Congress voted on July 18th to send more of our tax dollars to fund more weapons. $500 million more of American tax dollars went to Israel on top of the $3.8 billion that they get for bombs to slaughter children, to mass starve children. President Trump, stop it today. No more negotiations. No more lies. No more giving Netanyahu and Israel time to starve and murder more babies and children. Don't let Netanyahu take you for a ride like he did with Biden. This is not who we are. The Americans are better than this. What we are supporting in Gaza does not make America great again. Shut down the killing zones, flood Gaza with aid, end the genocide. History will remember this point and this moment, what we did and what we failed to do. The world is watching, and history is keeping receipts. In order to honor the true heroes in Gaza in this awful stain on human history, my colleagues here will share accounts from doctors, healthcare workers, and regular Palestinians in Gaza. Some of them are still with us. Some of them have been murdered. Others are being tortured in the Israeli torture camps. They are not numbers. They are human beings with hopes and dreams. And they bleed just like anyone else. Thank you.
My name is excuse me. My name is Ashraf Abulaiz. I'm an anesthesiologist from Indiana, and today we are going to be sharing some of the quotes and testimonies from physicians and healthcare workers and regular people in Gaza. My part is to share Dr. Ali Tahrawi, an ER doctor at Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah, Gaza. He has served his people throughout Israel's ongoing genocide, and he had been doing 24-hour shifts due to devastating staff shortages. Recently, he stated, and I quote, "I have a cold, and in 1 hour, I will have finished the 24-hour shift, heartbroken again. I lost a cardiac patient because he had no medication. Another shot in the head was left to die slowly because we had no ventilators. A child with a shattered skull and exposed brain matter just died in front of me. I also just found a kidney patient collapsing on the bedroom floor. He had a seizure due to brain damage because he has not had dialysis in 3 months. A diabetic man haven't had eaten in 4 days. And when I asked him why, he cried. I gave him fluids and some money to buy flour. I am so sorry for the starving, for the children we couldn't save, for the mothers, for the dead, for the vulnerable. Not a single shift has passed without having me shattered." End of quote.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth. I'm a 4th-year medical student in Pennsylvania, also a veteran of the United States Army for nearly 2 decades. On Sunday, we hosted American nephrologist Dr. Imran on our weekly webinar for Doctors Against Genocide. The objective was to support the people in Gaza navigate malnutrition and refeeding syndrome. We learned that when we reintroduced food consumption, carbs are the worst in terms of safety. High phosphorus foods were encouraged, such as seafood, dairy products, legumes, nuts, seeds, bone broth, and canned foods. We were hit with the sobering reality when Iman Munia, a woman in Gaza, interrupted Dr. Imran to tell him that the foods he suggested when refeeding were unavailable in Gaza. I speak on behalf of all my colleagues when I say we collectively felt shame and guilt, even in our attempt to support. We fell short.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Imad Abu Arab. I'm a family doctor from Michigan. I'm going to state a testimony from Ahmed Zaidan, a 10-year-old from Gaza who went to collect aid at one of the GHF distribution centers. He says, "We thought they would give us the boxes respectfully, but they turned out to be the filthiest. We stayed from 7 in the evening until dawn. Tanks on one side, quadcopters and Apaches on the other. I told the young men not to go. Damn those aid boxes if they come with humiliation. Either the aid comes with dignity, we don't want it. My mother was martyred. Before her, my brother was killed. And God knows who's next. We can't even guarantee our lives anymore. Here's my bag, and here's a sack of flour. We have no weapons. We're not going to fight. We are civilians, not soldiers. Don't go to the aid sites and sacrifice your lives.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Qurratullain Sayyidan, physician from New York City. I'm going to share testimony of Dr. Khalid Al-Sir, renowned trauma surgeon from Nasir Medical Complex, Khan Yunus. While his telemedicine work was accepted, published in Lancet, he was abducted. On 28th March, the soldiers called me and 2 other civilian prisoners, aged around 16 and 17 by name. Dr. Al-Sir recalled, it was night. They tied us very tight at our wrists and ankles and put us in a military car. No one told us anything. We drove for around 2 hours into the hills. All the while they beat us, kicking us and humiliating us. They were laughing. I was trying to explain in English that the ties on my wrists were too tight, but they just said I was a doctor, so I would be okay. At around 4 a.m., I heard one say in Arabic, these 3 are to be hanged. I thought it was the end, said the surgeon. I was in pain. They had broken my ribs. Even when they said I was going to be hanged, I didn't care. I just wanted it to end, he said. Dr. Al-Sir was not released until late September, reuniting him with his parents, for whom he is the sole care provider.
My name is Dr. Roxana Samimi. I'm an infectious disease physician. I will be sharing the account by a Gazan captive regarding Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh. This was an account about his time at the Al-Fur prison area. The head of orthopedics at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh, was working at Al-Auda, a hospital in northern Gaza, in December when he and other medics were arrested by the Israeli army for what they said was quote-unquote national security reasons. He was taken to the notorious Ofer prison. A captive at Israel's Ofer prison in the occupied West Bank told Sky News how Israeli forces left Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh, who had previously been severely tortured, to die alone in agonizing pain and naked from the waist down in the prison's yard. He stated, and I quote, in mid-April 2024, Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh arrived at Section 23 in Ofer prison. The prison guards brought Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh into the section in a deplorable state. He had clearly been assaulted with injuries around his body. He was naked in the lower part of his body. The prison guards threw him in the middle of the yard and left him there. Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh was unable to even stand up. One of the prisoners helped him and accompanied him to one of the rooms. A few minutes later, prisoners were heard screaming from the room, and they declared that Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh was dead.
Hello and assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Iman Husni. I'm a family doctor in the Northern Virginia area. My testimony is coming from Gid Qassam, Dr. Hussam Abu Safia's lawyer. Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, a pediatrician and the director of Kamal Adwan Hospital, was taken hostage on December 27, 2024, and is currently being held at the infamous Ofer prison. Gid Qassam, his lawyer, testifies that Dr. Abu Safia has been held without charge for 7 months. His freedom is nowhere in sight. Cut off from the world and held in Israeli detention without charge, he has endured repeated beatings, prolonged solitary confinement, and medical neglect since his arrest in Gaza. The reason for his arrest, the Israeli army claimed, was that he had been involved in terrorist activity. 7 months later,
Israel has still not presented any evidence to prove it. At the time of his arrest, he weighed around 213 pounds. In the first 2 months, he lost 44 pounds. By the time his lawyer met with him recently, it was clear he had lost close to 88 pounds. Dr. Abu Safia spent almost a month in solitary confinement at Ofer before being transferred to a department with other detainees from Gaza. These cells are underground with no ventilation or natural light. The dampness is so intense that detainees feel cold even when the outside temperature exceeds 86 degrees Fahrenheit. The food that the prison provides is the bare minimum. They are being deliberately starved. Dr. Abu Safia told his lawyer that his most recent assault by prison guards occurred on the 24th or 25th of June. She said that he was attacked brutally and savagely. The beating lasted around 30 minutes. There were bruises on his head, neck, and chest. After they were done, he asked to see a doctor. He wasn't feeling well and he was having chest pain. They refused his request. She says that this was maybe the 5th or 6th time he had been attacked, and they also broke his glasses. She said, I tried so hard to get him a new pair because after he was arrested, when he was arrested, he didn't have his glasses. She finally managed to get him a pair in May, but when they beat him again, they shattered the lenses.
Hello, my name is Sherrod Wertheimer. I'm a medical student at George Washington, right here in DC. I'm reading the testimony of Hala Shasha, a 40-year-old mother of 5 from Gaza City. She stated, I dread the moment Hanan and Misk will ask me about their legs. What will I tell them? When I go to buy shoes for my children, what will I do when Hanan and Misk ask why I don't buy them any? If they say, I want to play, I want to dance, I want to ride a bike, what will I say to them? How will they adapt to their new situation? They lost their father, the love, compassion, and security he gave them. And they also lost their legs and their ability to move and play. Everything beautiful in their lives is gone. Their childhood was stolen. What did they do to deserve such devastation?
Hello, I'm Dr. Krista Joseph. I'm an internal medicine physician from Maryland. This is the testimony of Mervat Hijazi. Mervat Hijazi and her 9 children didn't eat at all on Thursday, save her underweight baby who had a sachet of peanut paste. They had nothing to eat except for the peanut sachet for 11-month-old Lama, received from a clinic as a nutritional supplement because baby milk formula has all but disappeared. I don't have enough milk in my breasts to feed her because I hardly eat myself, said Hijazi, whose husband was killed early in the war as he cycled to get food from a charity kitchen. I'm so ashamed of myself for not being able to feed my children. Hijazi told Reuters from their tent pitched amid the rubble of Gaza City. I cry at night when my baby cries and her stomach aches from hunger. 6-year-old Zaha can't sleep because of Israel's bombardment. She wakes up terrified, shaking, and then remembers she didn't eat and is hungry. I put her back to sleep, promising her food in the morning. Of course, I lie.
Hi, I'm Dr. Danny Ritchie. I'm a family physician from Rhode Island. I'm here to give the testimony of Dr. Wafa Abu Namir. At Nasir Hospital in Khan Yunis, in the southern Gaza Strip, Dr. Wafa Abu Namir confirmed the dire situation, reporting that by June 30th, 2025, 9 children were still being treated for malnutrition related complications at her facility alone. She described the scenes they have witnessed over the past 2 months as really unprecedented, with severe cases of nutritional edema or marasma, muscle wasting. She also said that some are additionally suffering from injuries due to explosions from which they have not recovered. Dr. Abu Nimir described to Amnesty how the impact on children extends beyond the physical. One girl whose hair fell out almost completely as a result of nutritional edema kept asking me, "Doctor, will my hair grow back?" Am I still beautiful? Abu Nimir said, even if these children recover completely from the scars will always remain with them. Medically, we know that malnutrition amongst infants and children may have long-term cognitive development effects, but I don't think enough attention is being given to the mental health and psychological impact of starvation and war on children and parents. She also conveyed the exhaustion felt by medical staff. We as doctors are also exhausted. We are malnourished ourselves. Most of us are also displaced and live in tents, yet we do our best to offer medical care, provide nutrient supplements, and as much support as we can. We try to save lives. We try to relieve suffering, but there is very little we can do after discharge.
I'm John Ruhr, a retired emergency physician. I've been on the front lines of conflict zones on 4 continents, and I have never seen anything like what is happening in Gaza. Missiles and bombs designed to fight modern armored armies are being dropped on helpless civilians penned in a cage. And if that's not enough, now we have the barbaric medieval siege tactic of starving a population to induce submission. Unbelievable. But we're not here today as diplomats. We are doctors whose duty is not to power, but to preserve life. And so we are asking President Donald Trump and the 535 members that work in this building behind us for 5 immediate actions. 1, open the crossings to Gaza for humanitarian aid.
Open it now. Open now. Now.
2, dismantling the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which, as you've heard, is nothing but a death trap dressed up as distribution centers. 3, unfettered access to food, fuel, medicine, and water to be distributed by the NGOs like World Food Program, the United Nations, and UNICEF and Oxfam, organizations that have experience in delivering this without killing people.
Now.
4, international protection for humanitarian aid and humanitarian aid workers. And 5, a permanent and complete ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now.
We're not asking for a miracle, we're demanding justice, because genocide doesn't happen just in silence. It happens in bureaucracy, in delay, in neutral language from people that are powerful who should know better. So we're here to say no more. We will not stop. We will not be polite. We will not forget. Lift the siege. Feed the starving. Stop the killing now. Not another hour, not another child, not another bomb. Never again for anyone. For God's sake, people, reclaim our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
If any of the media would like to do a one-on-one interview with anyone here, please feel free to tap someone on the shoulder if you have any additional questions you'd like to ask. Thank you for coming.
And the National Day of Action to End the Starvation, people around the country have been asked to